Assuming that life had taken 10% longer to advance on Earth, it wouldn't exist by any stretch of the imagination. Nearly a long time back, we said our farewells to Explorer 1, sending it on a mission of no return, a mission that should open new gateways in how we might interpret the nearby planet group. Like a loyal worker, Explorer 1 has been sending back crowds of information to Earth, uncovering awesome revelations about our universe and taking us on an excursion into new universes we never knew existed. Now, Explorer has taken its work excessively far, however, simply by dropping an interstellar stunner on the laps of researchers, who couldn't believe their eyes as they looked in surprise at the surprising information that Explorer 1 just sent to Earth. An unnerving revelation that is nearly modifying grandiose history as far as we might be concerned. What's this disturbing revelation that Explorer 1 just revealed? Is it true that the Explorer has crossed into interstellar space? Join us on this interesting, grandiose excursion as we investigate what happened. Interstellar space has seen nothing like Explorer 1 before, as the scientific masterpiece has explored depths in our universe that shock even the best of researchers. This engineering mystery has gone into locales that we never expected to uncover. Amazing disclosures that are revising how we might interpret interstellar space. For more than 45 years, Explorer 1 has revealed stunning discoveries that stargazers never imagined we would come across, at least not in the spacecraft's lifetime. Unfortunately, we couldn't have been more wrong, since Explorer 1 has shocked everybody by surviving past its normal life expectancy. Like a Shakespearean fantasy, Explorer 1 has not only surpassed its projected life expectancy, but has wandered into distances that have left the whole scientific community stunned. We can't resist the urge to be in awe of a spacecraft that is billions of miles from its platform, a spacecraft that has wowed everybody with its ingenuity in changing the fundamentals of space exploration. Thanks to Explorer 1, researchers have been forced to discard some limiting beliefs and embrace new thought models with regards to interstellar space journeys. It's almost like we were learning from the books right in real time. Explorer 1 has held everybody entranced by its crazy capacity to still send back information to Earth, despite its very far distance in space. It's seriously stunning that we are constantly getting information from the spacecraft, despite its outdated technology. It doesn't make sense. The spacecraft couldn't care less about how this makes us feel, since it has left a shock on our faces with its most recent goosebumps-shivering disclosure. This is one revelation researchers haven't stopped discussing since they deciphered the new message that the Explorer shipped off Earth. Apparently, the Explorer might have given us the interstellar disclosure of the decade. A disclosure we didn't have to lift a finger to find. What more might we at some point inquire? The journey to opening the mysteries of the universe didn't start today, but dates as far back as 1965, when the motor of space exploration was just beginning to rev up. We can't recount this story without mentioning Gary Flandreau, who worked at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. He was the brilliant mind entrusted with changing the ideal way for a space probe that would venture to the far-off giants of our planetary system: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Flandreau took on this overwhelming assignment with extraordinary confidence and got to work, putting his pencil to extraordinary use for several hours. Then, in the late 1970s and early 1980s, all four gas giants would align in a grandiose dance, forming a divine necklace with Earth. This was a once-in-a-lifetime event, a monumental moment that we might likely never see again. From the information Flandreau had uncovered, it was obvious that a spacecraft passing by each planet could gain a speed boost from its gravitational force, like an invisible rope was pulling it. It dawned on Flandreau that an excursion from Earth to Neptune, which would have originally taken 30 years, could be shortened to 12 years due to these gravity assists. Without wasting time, Flandreau relayed his findings to the top brass of NASA and advised that we begin making substantial plans to seize the opportunity this exceptional cosmic event would offer us. This is because this remarkable celestial event only happens once every 176 years. NASA acted quickly to avoid missing out on this once-in-a-lifetime chance. It didn't shock astronomers when the space agency launched two twin spacecraft, Explorer 1 and Explorer 2, within 15 days of one another in 1977. The space probes left the shores of Earth for space with one command embedded in their computer system: investigate the far-off giants in our solar system. Although researchers were hopeful that these space voyagers would reveal divine disclosures, nothing had prepared them for the record-breaking discoveries that these space tests would accidentally find on this fantastic journey. The twin spacecraft lived up to their name by successfully embarking on a grandiose journey that has enlightened how we interpret the planetary system and interstellar space. Normally, one would expect their light to be extinguished with time, but we couldn't have been more wrong. These amazing space adventurers continue to blast forward in space, exploring depths we never imagined they could visit, and keeping us abreast of the discoveries they make through the data they send back to the ground team on Earth. They've earned their place in the history books by wandering into the farthest distances trodden by any space probe in human history. Moreover, they consistently flabbergast everybody by being the oldest known spacecraft in history. We can't help but have the drums rolling in their tribute because their original mission spans were expected to last only 4 years. Yet, they stunned doubters and everybody else by pushing past the limit that had been placed on their presence. The story continues to get more sublime as time passes, and researchers just can't get enough of the surprising revelations that the explorers continue to send our way. Since the beginning of their journey, these courageous spacecraft have given us exciting up-close perspectives of Jupiter and Saturn. They took the blindfold off our eyes regarding our impression of these giant planets, correcting misconceptions and broadening the lens through which we view these far-off worlds. Thanks to the journey across the enormous gap that had limited how we interpreted these far-off giants, it was slowly topped off as our eyes became trained to the fascinating new worlds we didn't know existed on Jupiter or Saturn. Researchers couldn't conceal their awe at the fact that these worlds were strikingly more beautiful, dynamic, and active than we might have imagined. Astronomers nearly shouted in joy when the data provided by these space probes showed that these planets housed dynamic volcanoes and magnificent ice fields. It was like researchers had been granted entry into a Disneyland filled with the most awe-inspiring space discoveries they could conceive. Who would have imagined that a spacecraft, which is just a unique Volkswagen Scarab, could step into unknown territory and emerge with unimaginable revelations, like a bold hunter daring to enter the thick of a dense forest. Explorer 2 did the unexpected by being the first spacecraft to get so close to Uranus in 1986. Moreover, it forged ahead with this incredible journey until it passed Neptune in 1989. Up to this point, the history books hold Explorer 2's name as the only spacecraft to have gone to such lengths in exploring these two ice giants. What historians find more remarkable are the milestone discoveries these notable visits have brought to life. We would have stayed in the dark regarding our impression of these two far-off worlds if Explorer 2 hadn't dared to travel that far, an excursion that has placed it more than 14 billion miles from our planet. Explorer 1 could not have overcome everyone's expectations all by itself. Early in its journey, it needed help. We got to see this when its grand journey began with a gravity assist from Venus, a move never attempted before by any spacecraft on their way to Mercury. The explorer's journey is filled with records of many firsts. They continued to set records each passing day as they cruised through the captivating waves of interstellar space. As exciting as this story sounds, it was certainly not a smooth ride for the explorers. It seems easy now, but years ago, when the space probes were moving through the various stages of this journey, they had a tense atmosphere overshadowing them. We see proof of this during their various attempts to make the critical move to Mercury. In fact, the first leg of their journey to Jupiter was not rosy at all, as the journey took them to a distance multiple times farther from Earth than Mercury. This awe-inspiring journey saw the probes navigate through the treacherous asteroid belt, a path that threatened to delay them from their goal. However, the spacecraft hadn't come this far to be stopped, so they pressed on until they crossed the hazardous region and continued their heavenly exploration of the planetary system. Although the explorer had passed through the asteroid belt safely, its troubles didn't end there. There were still many challenges waiting for the spacecraft as it cruised through space. Researchers realized that the explorer was in a tight spot, especially when we consider that it only had 69 kilobytes of memory, which was equivalent to a fraction of a modern smartphone storage. Consequently, the spacecraft's computers had to rely on onboard systems to handle the complexities of their journey. Interestingly, the data collected by the spacecraft's instruments had to be stored on tape recorders before being sent back to Earth via a modest 23-watt transmitter that was as powerful as a fridge light. Since the Explorer was equipped with 12-meter dish antennas, It could easily use radio communication traveling at the speed of light to send and receive messages. However, we can't help but be in awe of their remarkably far distance from Earth, which positioned itself as an obstacle on the spacecraft's successful journey. The vast distance made it difficult for the spacecraft to stay connected with Earth. It turned out that signals from Explorer 2 took over 18 hours before they were received by the ground team on Earth. This challenge was further compounded by the increasing interference from Earth's noise, radios, TVs, and cell phones, which made it harder to hear faint whispers coming from the spacecraft. Nevertheless, Explorer 1 and its twin have triumphed over these hurdles, year after year. Since the Explorer set out on its journey through the interstellar voids of our universe, it has been mailing back legendary discoveries to researchers, revelations that have left astronomers with their mouths wide open. These discoveries are beyond amazing, as they are revising our understanding of the far-off domains in our universe. The beliefs we held dear about our universe are being tossed into the trash bin as a new understanding of the universe is being established right before our eyes. One of the highlights of this captivating interstellar journey was recorded when the Explorer wandered into the Oort cloud, which is a breathtaking heavenly gathering of comet-like substances bound together by the sun's gravitational pull, extending halfway towards the closest star. This far-off domain is one of the mysterious regions that the Explorer has been investigating, and it is slowly uncovering the endless secrets hidden deep within this astronomical realm. Moreover, one place where Explorer 1 seemed to have radiated brightly was interstellar space, where the solar wind anomalies give way to a more open frontier. Before the Explorer could step into this captivating region, it needed to cross the heliopause, the boundary between our planetary system and interstellar space. The moment the Explorer crossed this line, space experts jumped up in excitement, and the whole academic community began to dream about the incredible discoveries that might come from this truly remarkable event. The Explorer's introduction to this unknown region came with several perplexing questions. For instance, the initial estimates of the heliopause distance before the Explorer probes arrived were inconsistent, but scientists expected it to be about 50 galactic units. As a result, the mission's funding was extended. However, what astronomers found shocking was that as the spacecraft departed from this milestone, no normal signs of interstellar travel were detected. So we can understand why researchers were puzzled by this startling situation. They waited in vain for signs of this exceptional event, but none surfaced. Scientists were stunned. One of the signs expected to cross into interstellar space was a sudden increase in cosmic rays, high-energy particles expelled from supernovae and other explosions at nearly the speed of light. However, most low-energy cosmic rays are deflected by the vast magnetic field created by the heliosphere. This heliosphere is the universe's gift to our planetary system, as it shields our inner solar system from most of its external threats. It's like a giant shield ensuring the safety of everything in the inner solar system. Moreover, the Explorer's ground team had their eyes locked on the spacecraft as they kept tabs on changes in the prevailing magnetic field. Additionally, the interstellar medium, composed of ionized gases and influenced by neighboring stars, was expected to have a different magnetic field direction compared to the heliosphere. Therefore, researchers were stunned when the Explorer announced no signs of such modifications. This astonished scientists further at this juncture, as it became clear that the spacecraft had wrapped itself in a thick veil of mystery. The image became less foggy when, on August 25, 2012, the Explorer crossed the heliopause and sent back fascinating data to the ground team on Earth. The transmitted information confirmed the expected increase in plasma density, but the story wasn't entirely successful. This is because there was no sign of a change in the surrounding magnetic field direction. Space experts found it hard to come to terms with this reality, as it was startling. It had been expected that a change in the magnetic field direction would happen when transitioning from a region dominated by the sun's magnetic field to one influenced by other stars. It took a while before this stunning finding sank in. Either way, if we walk back in time to November 2018, we would be greeted by a captivating reel of how Explorer 2 embarked on an astonishing journey to the interstellar ocean. This one-of-a-kind venture created buzz in the academic community and has stayed on the lips of astronomers since. We can't fault them for being intrigued by this exceptional event, which saw the spacecraft arrive at the heliopause, the boundary of our planetary system, at 120 galactic units from Earth. What's interesting is that this was the same distance its twin, Explorer 1, had reached 6 years earlier. Space experts were thrilled that Explorer 2 could replicate the same feat. What researchers still found perplexing, however, was how Explorer 2 had detected no changes in the magnetic fields, which contradicted what theoretical models had predicted. This strange event poured an extra dose of mystery into the pool of otherworldliness that the spacecraft was swimming in. Space experts were scratching their heads in search of an answer, but every step of the way, they met a roadblock. It seemed as though the shadows were bound to win over this matter forever. It was marvelous that the explorer's behavior went contrary to expectations. For instance, predictions told us that the heliosphere, which is influenced by the sun's 11-year cycle, should have ebbed and flowed just like the solar wind. Researchers were shocked when existing models failed to explain the inconsistencies in the explorer's observations, particularly as the solar wind peaked upon Explorer 2's arrival, suggesting that the heliopause may be farther than 120 galactic units, closer to the interstellar medium. Minor changes near the heliopause, influenced by the heliosphere, raised questions about the explorer's progress into the true interstellar magnetic field. Conflicting views arose among researchers. Some believe the explorer remains inside the heliospheric bubble, while others think it has already crossed into interstellar space, affected by increased cosmic radiation and plasma density. These explorers, running on decades-old technology with minimal programming, continue to fascinate as they approach Proxima Centauri, promising extraordinary revelations if their mission extends into 2030.